back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Julian Hill, Miami Dolphins tight end, going where I think he's playing better this year. I think it comes down to just like a couple basic things. I think one thing that McDaniel has done has kind of lessened his responsibility in terms of like difficulty of what he's being asked to do. I don't think he's being asked to do like a lot of play side blocking defensive end as much. I think McDaniel's play design has kind of switched up with what they've gone from him. He's done a lot of like freezing, moving across the line of scrimmage, sifting, split zone, things like that. Maybe blocking on a lead. If he is a play side blocker, a point of attack blocker, he's getting out to DBs and linebackers more. Not making as many mental mistakes there as well. So like I think not being asked to do as difficult as assignments. He's not getting those penalties, which is nice. And I think that is the reason like you saw a lot of struggles last year, is he was constantly asked to go out there and dig out defensive ends, create displacement on the play side of these blocks, which is just not realistic for a player of his caliber. And then, honestly, back-to-back weeks, getting these seam rail slider POs, running hard, he still makes me nervous with someone that's gonna fumble every time he touches the ball. But there's some good works to come away with. Someone that I actually wouldn't mind seeing in pass protection a bit more. Like his pass protection has actually been pretty solid, helping out guys like Larry Borum. I would like maybe to see that at a little more of a consistent basis. They don't ask him to pass pro a lot, but I think he's looked pretty solid there. And I just think the tight end position is so important. I've been asking for an all-around stud tight end. The Dolphins don't have that, but they do have Hill, who can at least block a little bit, Darren Waller, who can be the receiving side, because having that tight end can change especially someone who can do everything. It changes up like the angles and the numbers in the run games, like how defenses have to play you with with their run fits, things like that, coverages, like the different matchups that you end up creating end up being different. That's why you see a lot of top offenses in the league have that all-around stud tight end. It's really important. That's why you'll see me pushing the Kenyan Sadiq agenda this offseason again, because I'll be there. But he had some good blocks, especially out in space on these outside zone, whether it was toss or just straight outside zone. Getting out to the DB, very solid work. He throws that drag hand initially in case he needs to help out Patrick Paul get that block, but then he gets out to 26, and he's just able to get. I think he's done a better job straining, sustaining. I like how he continues to work, kind of right in this spot. He's kind of scoring up, and now he's just running with him. He's got that high hand, low hand. So he dips that shoulder a little bit. Just shows me that he's really trying to sustain this, bring your hips through the contact. Because I do think sometimes, especially when he's blocking out in space, sometimes he can maybe not sustain super well, or maybe against DNs. He'll sustain that, completely wash him sideways, and that's very important to continue this kind of situation, because when he has that, this guy's working across outside leverage, just continue to wash him, use his momentum against him, because HN is someone who will get out towards the sideline, work off of you like that, so that's very important. Here's another example of it. On the line of scrimmage, he has Alec Ingold to the side of him. He's getting out horizontally here. Pretty good job staying patient. Kind of throws that drag hand to help out Patrick Paul capture the edge. And now once he's done that, he's ready. He's under control. I think that's another area, is he just looks a little more under control this year. I feel like last year he was playing super out of control. That was, I think, a problem of his game. Gets out there on 21 and, help widen things. It's very important within, the Dolphin system, doing a lot of wide zone. And this is something I've seen him do a lot of with the Dolphins testing. I've seen in the past where, maybe in this situation, they might ask him to down block and try to move this guy out of the way, which is a tough ask for most tight ends in the league. They're not going to do that. But here they have him just, hesitating. So I actually love this concept and design from McDaniel. I've seen him do this in the past, but I feel like he's doing it more this year with his tight ends and fullbacks. Has him freeze this guy, hesitate, and then get to the next level. And now you have Ingold working on the wind back to kick him out. And then Julian Hill is now climbing up, finding the middle linebacker, 51, and able to get a body on him. It just creates really advantageous angles in the run game, and I think it's making life easier on players like Julian Hill, because at the end of the day, Julian Hill was an undrafted free agent that made the team and has played pretty significant snaps in his first 3 seasons for Miami. He is a success story at the undrafted spot. Obviously, you want him to play at a higher level than he did last year, which he is so far through these first 4 games. Want to see that continue. But also, he was asked to do a lot of high-level things last year, so making his job a little bit easier is very helpful with plays like that. Here, get him on the move, get a body on AJ Epinesa. This is on that nice Ollie Gordon run. I think he could do a better job here with maybe squaring the guy up, getting hands-on in this spot to completely move him, but he sticks with it, able to stay with that shoulder into the chest, like, you wanna, maybe use your hands a little better in this situation, but not to get completely tossed out of the side, at least create some displacement there, especially considering Ollie Gordon's, like, getting hit and slowed down in the backfield, and Hill's able to contain it just long enough for him to explode through. Good stuff. I think Hill's pretty comfortable moving across line of scrimmage on this SIF stuff to get defensive ends. It's just a little more comfortable for him. And like I've said, the Dolphins are doing this where, like, boom, Alec Ingold goes up to him. I love this. The Alec Ingold line here, go to the defensive end like you're going to block him. This takes his eyes away, so he's not going to identify Julian Hill until it's late. So now he sees Julian Hill late, but now Hill is able to adjust, take the perfect angle, and kick that guy out, which gives Achane a hole to work through. The play design has super helped him out, and Julian Hill is executing on those plays, so you got to give him his credit. I mean, he's not playing like perfect or super high level, but he's doing his job for the most part. Pass pro, they full slide to the right. He ends up, kind of getting on top of this defensive end pretty quickly. Does a pretty good job resetting because he's in a pretty poor spot here with his base, playing over the top. But now he gets back to being square. Good job. Active hands, active feet, not allowing anything, to get into the face of Tua, and that was actually on the Waller touchdown throw. I wouldn't mind seeing more pass pro stuff because I actually think his pass pro has looked more consistent. I mean, he hasn't done it a ton, but I think having him out there, like, if he is out there, like, I don't really think he needs to run like routes or anything. Like, maybe he can be a guy that blocks initially and then releases. But kind of like the idea of him blocking out here. There are still some reps where he is out there leading on some outside zone blocking edge defenders, but he's getting help from Patrick Paul. This is a tough ask out of the emotion. Alec Ingold across. He does try to he does a decent enough job getting his hat across in this situation, cutting him off. And then Paul is able to kind of like finish. I would like to see, Julian Hill sustain this a little bit more. Because I do think, he's supposed to go here. And then once Paul gets control, get up to like, maybe that DB. But he's able to make the DB miss. And then Julian Hill is kind of in no man's land. There's no responsibility at this point. Like at this point in the play, there's no real responsibility. His kind of time has passed. He's lost this guy. He hasn't gone to his second level. That guy's kind of missed. So Julian Hill is now at the point. He's like, hey, I'm just going to, I'm in front of Devon now. I'm just going to throw my body in one of these guys, which he does, and he's able to seal off 51. And that gives Achane an opportunity to make one guy miss and stay tight to Julian Hill's block to pick up an extra handful of yards. I like seeing that, and it's just also just the lack of penalties has really helped. And in situations like this, they are giving help. It's not just like one-on-one on defensive ends, which he's not going to win the majority of those battles, but they give him the momentum motion here with Ingold to attack the low hip and just look at that movement that's able to get displaced there. Julian Hill sticks with it, finishes his guy to the ground with the help of Ingold. This could actually have been a really nice play. I think, Achane actually, that's one where he ends up fumbling, but Julian Hill pretty much executing. And then with all the run stuff, and the Dolphins running less seam rail slide RPO. So seam rail slide, Dolphins run this a ton where they go to RPO, and Julian Hill as the slide guy, 2 times in a row they ran this where he's just wide open. Typically it's not that open, but they've gotten him wide open a couple times, and this is where you can actually use him as a receiver. He's never going to be a route runner. He's never going to make some crazy tough catches. But I do think, like, if you do throw him the ball down in the flat, he will run hard. Now, am I nervous he's going to fumble? Hell yeah, I'm nervous. But he will run hard and try to punish a defender, so that is at least nice. Also, if you're still watching, make sure to like, comment, all that stuff. I keep forgetting to say that. Join as a member if you want early access to videos, yada, yada, yada. Like I'm saying, here's another example of it. Basically, you got this, like, 7 tech here, guys inside shade, defensive end. I think it's Russo. He fires off the ball like he's going to get, all of his momentum's going towards him, but he kind of freezes him now. Then get up to the safety, block the safety. It just does so many wonders because it frees this guy, makes Ingold's block easier, even though Ingold doesn't get a great block. But it makes Ingold's job easier. And then this guy is now probably not expecting the tight end to get up on him super quickly because he's, kind of not feeling him instantly go up to him. So now it gives Julian Hill a better chance to get to that level. He squares him up, and now, like, blocking a safety, he's got great technique. He's, gets engaged. He's got good hand placement. And now he's leg driving down the field for an extra, 5 yards. That's where you want to, be able to utilize Julian Hill. Still get some effective blocks for Steven Levin. That's what I'm saying, like working combos. Patrick Paul does a good job helping him out, getting him there. And now Julian Hill is able to torque him just enough to the outside to allow Achan to hit through that hole, gain, solid like 5-6 on the play, and then also not hold. Like, look when he's right here. So boom, get engaged, torque him, and now once the guy tries to work across his face, and he's about, he could hold in this spot. This could get called for holding. If he does grip him as Epinesa is about to go to the inside, he'll let him go because Achan's gonna hit the hole. Just making more heads-up decisions. Love seeing that. And then here versus Russo, one-on-one in pass pro. Borum comes to help late, but like Julian Hill gets engaged initially. Like seeing some shock in his hands there. Like he's like, kind of, winging and praying it here, but he throws some shock. I mean, good placement straight to the chest. Able to reset. Like he's in a bad spot here. Might get tossed aside. Look at him reset and recover. Get back to where he wants. And then actually anchor a little bit and then get some help from Borum. I mean, hey, throw him out there. Help out the right side of that old line in pass pro because they need it. So I would like to see more of that. He's done some good stuff. This one was another seam roll slider PO, but this one got called back. I like this play design too because usually this ends up being covered up. But doing this out of like the pistol with the wing next to you, you get Julian Hill downhill. It doesn't end up counting because of an eligible man downfield. But Julian Hill has been running hard with some space in front of him. So that's pretty nice to see. Back in this Colts game, week 1, Dolphins run some pin pull. He's pinning down. They have him aligned here. Tight alignment, but as like a wide receiver. Give him just a natural leverage advantage on the edge, and he's able to just take a good angle, pin this guy to the inside, and just now sustain it. It gives the pull for Paul to work with, and Achan's able to capture that edge. So yeah, you're seeing some better play out of Julian Hill. You got to give him that respect. He's definitely not been one of the, like last year, he was one of the players on the team that you're like, oh, he's one of the detriment players. He's one of the players that you could lose, because of some of the plays he's made. This year, he's actually been more, I would say, helpful than anything. He's not playing at like super high level. I don't expect that out of him. But for being a guy that's going to play, a lot of snaps, probably more than maybe he should, just due to talent level. He's doing a pretty solid job. Like to me, Julian Hill, if like he was, like if you got a stud, an all around stud, and then you had a guy like Darren Waller that was a receiving tight end, and then you had a guy like Julian Hill, that would be a much better job for him. Not be like your main blocker, but be like that secondary blocker to your guy that's like an all-around great player at the position. I think, you would find even more success from Julian Hill because then, he wouldn't be asked to do as many high-level stuff even to that, so make his life easier. But yeah, like what I've seen out of Julian Hill. If you guys want to do, like, comment, and subscribe, and that's